Welcome back, guys. It's been I think a couple of weeks before I've done anything. Just want to give you an update. I'm trying to finish up the Allied artillery for the La Saint battle I'm going to put together. So I'm working on that. I got a few more the colonels I'm working on. I got some started working on the Zulu characters with Kane, with Michael Caine here, and he plays Chad. Man, come on! I forgot his name. I'm trying to remember what his name is. I'm having a brain fart here, guys. Oh, Stanley Baker. That's right. So that's Baker, who plays Chad, and then Michael Caine, who plays Bromhead. Then, of course, you got Hicks and Color Sergeant Bourne. And you got these two gentlemen here that came from another set. So I've been working on her, putting her together, painting her up. Doing that. Oops, hang on. Put this little Gandalf together. So I figured, hey, why not? Just a little break. Working on these guys. Put together some artillery again. Of course, I got, I'm working on the Royal Horse. So that's what I've been doing. Trying to get through this. I got another Royal Horse artillery set there. So I'm finishing them up. So I just need to get a few more details done, and then the Allied artillery will be done. And then I wanted to stretch into this book here. I'm almost done. And it's Who Won Waterloo? The Trial of Captain Seaborn by Barry Van Danzig, which was an awesome book, an awesome read. And there's a few things in here that are pretty interesting. This book is well worth getting, guys. It really is. So let me just throw some things together, and I'll put you right here for now, and we'll see. So this book is pretty cool. Now, what we're looking at is this. Is in this book here, it mentions Chandler's book, and it mentions Hamilton Williams' book, which I have Hamilton Williams' book. And this is Waterloo, New Perspectives, Great Battle Reprised. And what Williams says is Seaborn changed his diorama for money. And whoever donated money got to pick where they were in the battle and kind of got the glory or whatever. So what Danzig is doing is he's putting together the whole battle in miniature to find out what actually happened, which was interesting because, in a way, all these books have a little bit of the truth in it. You got Chandler's book, and then you got a multitude of David Howard's book, and this was this is 100 Days. And I believe this was by Saunders, right? By Edith Saunders. This is 100 Days, Waterloo, again. Then I have Mercia's Journal, the Waterloo Campaign, which I've read. And then I have Wellington's At Waterloo by Jack Weller. And you can go on and on with all the books that they write about Waterloos. But what I want to show you is now the misconception. Well, I shouldn't say misconception, but what I always was led to believe that several things is that Napoleon left the battle and Ney took over, and he charged with the cavalry through this area right here, through La Haute-Sainte, which is right there, and Who Won, which is right there. So he charged with the cavalry up here and around, and Wellington's troops are all in squares, checkerboards. It's the way it was 33 or 34 different checkerboard regiments, all set up in battalion squares all throughout this area, and the cavalry just went in. Now, I was always led to believe that Ney led the charge because he thought that the troops, now this is Wellington's Ridge, now the troops were retreating down this road here. It was supposed to be the invalid, the hospitalized, anybody who was wounded was running away, and some of the deserters were running away. And the way that this book here presents it is a totally new, different aspect, because the way Danzig says is that no, it wasn't that Ney messed up and saying it was actually planned by Napoleon, because what happened was D'Erlin, when he charges in, and I believe he charges right here. So this is D'Erlin's coming in, and they've pounded him now with the Grand Battery. Jerome has basically, it wasn't a main attack, it was a diversion. I always wondered, thinking, well, why didn't Napoleon go around? Why didn't he flank? Why didn't he flank Wellington? Well, Wellington thought that Napoleon was going to cut him off from the coast, so he wouldn't be able to retreat to England. That wasn't his plan. His plan was to cut and separate Blucher and Wellington, destroy Wellington, and then go after Blucher. So this area here was all woods and swamp, marshy land here on Wellington's left flank or Napoleon's right flank. So Napoleon couldn't really come up around here because this ground wasn't good enough for that type of battle. So he could have come this way, because it's not shown here, but a lot of Wellington's troops were strung out over here to make like a hook, much like Gettysburg had the hook. So then Wellington do the same thing. So Napoleon figured that with his 60-odd thousand men, he could take Wellington's 33,000. Now, what's really there is he's talking about the Brits, because the British were fantastic troops. They were stone cold. They were brave, and they did what they needed to do. And Napoleon thought nothing about the second hand troops, like the Netherlands, the Brunswickers, Nassau. So those troops he really didn't really give too much credit. They were secondary troops. You know, they weren't as good as Wellington's Brits. So what he ends up doing is he goes right after the center, hoping to destroy it. And the plan was he would bombard them with the artillery, the grand artillery. However, he needed to hold Wellington's right flank here, so he wouldn't send his good troops to back up the center. So Jerome has to make an all-out attack on Huguenot and make it look real to fool Wellington. Now Danzig puts this out there, and this is why you need to get the book and read it, because it throws some light on some stuff where you're going, well, wait a minute, Napoleon's supposed to be like really, really great as far as a strategist and a tactician, but yet why does he fall apart at Waterloo? So they blame bowel movements and all kinds of other crazy stuff, which it's just not the case. Basically, what happened was he believed, he was confident, maybe overconfident, that his Frenchmen could take out the Brunswickers, the Nassaus, and the Netherlanders, and kind of hang out and take out the Brits after. So he makes this beeline for the center. So Jerome is keeping Wellington busy here. The Grand Battery is hitting these guys. Now, yes, the ground is soft and they're behind the hill. They're on the opposite slope. They are taking casualties, but not as badly as one would think. Because of all the smoke in the battlefield, you got cannons firing both back and forth, you really can't see what's happening. So several hours go by. The Ireland's troops are ready to move out, so he marches them out. Meanwhile, they've been pounded. The light infantry have moved up, and they're doing their thing. The British light infantry moves up, and they're having their little battle, one-on-one in here, and then the Ireland's troops come up. Now, some leave, like the 95th, who's in the sandpit at La Haye-Saint, fall back. Now, there are a few regiments that see the 95th who are considered elite troops, Britain's, riflemen, and they panic. So they see Ireland's columns coming. So the 95th pulls back because they're going to get slammed sitting here in the gravel pit with all these troops coming. So they back up. Now, when they back up, they're mistakenly thinking that they're routing or they're retreating. Some did. When they backed up, some of them kept going, some of them stayed. But that meant that some of the Netherlanders actually left. So now what happens is Ireland comes in. They're pounding them. They're crusting the ridge here, and it was the Union Brigade where they start their attack on the side of the Ireland's main attack here. So when the Union and the Scott Greys, when they charge in here, they push Ireland back, and what happens is they get so excited that they actually push all of the Ireland's corps back. I should say divisions back. Corps, yeah. So now what ends up happening is they go right into the battery, and then the French cavalry then go into the Union Brigade and basically decimate them. But what's happened now is they've completely wrecked Wellington Center. The Ireland's troops are completely wrecked. They're trying to rebuild. Napoleon, according to Danzig, Napoleon did not expect that. So the Prussians were still coming. They knew the Prussians were coming, but he still had time to beat them. Now he thinks, I'm going to send in my heavy cavalry and take them out. And he does. So he sends in the cavalry, hoping to wear down the center. And then after he wears down the center, he was going to send in the guard. So I always thought he sent in the cavalry as a mistake, that Ney had just sent in, thought everyone was retreating. But the way Danzig presents it is that it wasn't a mistake. It was a change of plan, because by rights, the Ireland's attack should have won. They should have took this ridge. Once they take the ridge, they're going to move the Grand Battery up to the ridge, and then flank and take out the rest of Wellington's line, because this was the strong hand. This hook was the strong part. So they were supposed to come up, and they were supposed to smash this center and then swing to Wellington's right. It would be Napoleon's left, and swing and cut them off. That's the way the plan was supposed to go. And when the Union Brigade slammed into Ireland's troops and pushed them back, it messed with Napoleon's grand plan. So the idea was you crush them, you get to the ridge, and then you start wearing them away, and then you go after them with the cavalry, and then whatever was left, the guard would take care of. So that was the main plan. At least that's what Danzig says. So now what ends up happening is he has to change plans. So he wants to wear these guys down. He figures they're at the breaking point. He doesn't realize that the Grand Battery isn't as effective as it usually is, and that the British troops, are interspaced between the Netherlanders and the Nassaus and the Brunswickers, and they're staying. They're brave troops. They're staying. So when the cavalry comes in, yeah, a majority of the casualties in Waterloo were caused by the French cavalry attacking the squares. Now what happens is they bring another division comes up to take care of the guard. But the only thing is, the guard, instead of coming through here, where they might have on the opposite, on the right side of La Hasse, they came up the middle. And coming up the middle, they were hitting fresh troops. So that's what gets rid of the guard. Plus, the young guard in some of the divisions were siphoned off to block the Prussians, because now the Prussians are coming this way. So now what ends up happening is that the French have to split their army in half to attack here and defend here. So now you have Wellington's hook here, and you have Napoleon's hook here. And basically, when the guard's coming up, the Prussians are coming this way, and they just couldn't hold it. It was just not enough of them, and this book is fantastic. So what ends up happening is, as we all know, Napoleon loses Waterloo and retreats. So basically, that's what I wanted to put out there for you guys. It was definitely an interesting read. It was definitely a new insight on what actually happened at Waterloo. You know, a lot of brave men died. So I'm going to try to finish this up, guys, and happy wargaming, and